Hello and welcome back to Cooking for the Yum of It. Today I am going to be doing an episode dedicated solely to my favorite of all gravies, the Hillbilly Bechamel. Why do I call it that, you ask? Well, because there's only one real difference between Bechamel and Hillbilly Bechamel. Bechamel sauce uses butter, whereas this version uses bacon grease gravy. So if you like to eat bacon and you don't want to just throw the bacon drippings away, save it and you can make this delicious, fantastic gravy. I also call it Granny's gravy because this was a recipe I was first introduced to by my great-grandmother, Julia Gentry. And it was requested by my friend, by my aunt, Kathy. I hope you're watching. Hi, how you doing? I posted this recipe before as a side item for previous episodes I've done, but this will be the first time I've ever made it just as its own episode. It can be used for things like mashed potatoes, a topping on eggs, scrambled eggs if you like. It can be used for other forms of fried, roasted, or baked root vegetables. It really is a fantastic sauce, and as I found out recently, it can also be used as a savory alternative to maple syrup on pancakes or waffles. So now that you know all of that, we can get started. Before I get started though, I did want to say that for this episode I will be using it for these lovely biscuits I made. Anyone who tells you that biscuits and gravy are not a real food, cut them out of your life. You do not need that kind of negativity in your life. Trust me. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set our heat to medium, and we're going to put in 1/4 cup and maybe a little bit more of our bacon grease, or bacon grippings if the term grease, you don't like the sound of that. But it is what it is, and trust me, it is delicious. Sorry about that. Let's get that all in there. Okay. Now let's wait for the grease to melt, which doesn't take too long. And in the meantime, we get to smell all of the ghosts of bacon past. In case it starts to smoke, I got to get ready to turn on the fan because I don't want the smoke alarm to go off because that is so annoying. I was keeping my bacon grease in the refrigerator, so it's probably going to take a little bit longer to melt. But that's okay, I've got time. Another thing that would make this good, I didn't get any because this is just the basic sauce I'm doing this time. But if you ever have it, some ground pork sausage also goes well in this. Gives it a nice porky flavor. Okay, we're just about ready. Excellent. Now we are going to sift our flour into our bacon grease, and we're going to whisk it in, making sure to get all the lumps taken care of as best we can. And this is going to form a roux. You don't want to do it too much all at once, or it's going to It's going to clump up, and we don't want that. Okay, get the last of the flour out there. I'm going to keep whisking, whisking, whisking. And we want it to turn slightly darker. So we need to keep paying very close attention. And we're just about ready there. Now we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 of black pepper. My great-grandmother, Granny, she was a real, she loved putting lots of pepper in the gravy, but I'm not going to be adding that much. Okay, and now we're going to start adding our milk, 1/2 cup at a time, to make sure we thoroughly incorporate all of the milk before we add any extra. Make sure the heat's not up too high. We don't want it to scorch or burn. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit more. And the whisk helps deal with the excess clumpage. Now some people like to have their gravy a little bit thicker, and always feel free, whatever recipe I show you, to make any adjustments to your personal taste. But I like to stick with my granny's recipe. I also hope one of my cousins, Denise and Gary and Janet, they probably already knew the recipe. It's been a long time since we've all heard from one another. Okay, turn it up just a tiny, tiny bit. Altogether, this recipe calls for 2 cups of milk. That is 1 quart. No, excuse me, 4 cups of milk, my bad. I was looking at the measuring cup wrong. Okay. It may look a little soupy now, but trust me, it will thicken up as we go along. Especially after we're done adding all of the milk. And for those who are wondering, this is whole fat milk. If you want to use a low fat or even a skim milk, feel free. I prefer the taste of whole milk. And it's not like it's going to add all that much extra fat to it, considering one of the main ingredients is the bacon grease. So don't be afraid. Something that's really started to annoy me is all this fear of food I've been seeing on TV and hearing on the radio lately. Food should be joyful. It should be fun. And above all else, it should taste fantastic. It should taste good. Okay, maybe turn up the heat a bit because we want it to simmer and thicken. Now this will be an interesting experiment for me because I've never saved gravy before, but I don't like to waste food, so after I've done my biscuits and gravy for dinner tonight, I am going to see how it goes saving all of the rest, which I will report on in my next episode, which I hope you'll all come to see. Okay. And here is that last little daub of milk. This is a Pyrex. I don't know if you can see that. You can always tell. No, this is original vintage Pyrex. You can tell because all of the letters are capital. When you the Pyrex that's marked in lowercase letters, that is Pyrex that has been made under license with the original Pyrex company. It's not bad. It's just not the original, and I prefer the original Pyrex. So to my friend Fritz out there, who runs an eBay store where he resells items he finds at thrift stores, if you can find me any, if you ever want to look get original vintage Pyrex, he's the one to ask. I'll see about putting a link to his eBay store in the description below for this recipe. He's one who also helped me recreate the Visions cookware collection that my grandmother had. That's what this bowl is. Excuse me, pan or pot, whatever you want to call it. He helped me recreate that. Of course, I'm very careful with it all the time, but my large skillet broke not too long ago. I've been keeping my eyes out myself for a new one, but so far I've not been very lucky. Now we're going to be whisking, like I said, constantly until this thickens up. We just want it to come to a nice simmer. And once it's thick, now it's hasn't thickened yet, so it's not done. But I do want to test the seasoning to see if I need any extra salt or pepper. So it's okay for now. Oh, but you can really taste the bacon. Think of this as liquid bacon if you want. Okay, you're probably getting bored at this point, so let's skip ahead to when it's actually done. That shouldn't be too much longer, but I don't want to make you have to wait through the whole thing. Hey, not quite ready yet, but I did want to show you something. You know it's getting closer and closer when you can start to see a skin form on the top, which is another reason you want to keep whisking. But you can see that it is starting to thicken, and I thought you might like to see that. So let's skip ahead again. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes since I started the thickening process, and I just wanted to keep. I turned off the heat, but it's still quite hot, so I'm going to keep whisking here. And you can see how lovely and thick it's gotten. Okay, now let's apply it to the biscuits. It's going to be so good. Okay. And now, to make it all pretty, let's dress our plate with a little bit of parsley here. Does absolutely nothing for it except to make it look good. And now, let's go eat. And this always is my favorite part. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, absolutely fantastic. And I can't show it to you right now, but the gravy does continue to thicken after you've removed it from the heat and applied it to your food. So don't worry if it looks a little too soupy at first. That doesn't last long at all. But it is such a... You can definitely taste the bacon. Oh, this takes me back. So anyway, that is my Hillbilly Bechamel. I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. And I hope you'll don't forget to like if you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe. I look forward to seeing you at my next episode. And until then, always remember, eat and enjoy.